And before I start with all of these examples, I want to just kind of remind you that when we look at these shapes, try to somewhat disregard the dotted lines because they're not part of the shape. They're measurements that we need in the shape, but they're not part of the shape. So the shape that we're looking at, I'm just going to outline it in red, is this triangle right here, which is what type of triangle? Raise your hand. Or don't raise your hand. That's okay. Okay, so that is the shape. Go ahead. Let me just do it in red. I didn't even know we had that tool. Okay. Good idea. So we can kind of see. We'll need it, but yeah, that's okay. All right. So that does help you to see the entire shape. You're right. Okay. Now, in doing that, understand there is a measurement of the altitude of that triangle that we need. So we're just going to clear that out so we can see it, but that's our shape that we're focusing in on. Okay. And if you don't mind, I'm also just I do kind of want to at least. It's too much. I don't want to do that.
Make it tiny.
I can, but can you still see the dotted line? Because we do need to see the dotted line because you're going to see by creating. That's good. Yeah, just do it in black. Do you see that dotted line though breaks up these two, or it breaks up this acute triangle into what? To what kind of triangles? Look, bud. Does that help? It breaks it up into two right triangles, which we know the formula for finding the area of a right triangle, right? We did it yesterday. Base times height divided by 2, right? Okay, so we've got triangle 1 on the left and triangle 2 on the right. We'll just call this number 1, even though it kind of matches up left-right. We want to keep track of what's what. Okay, so triangle 1, base times height divided by 2. Okay, let's fill in the blanks. What is the base of triangle 1? Because they actually give it to you. Sometimes they won't. They'll give you the whole thing and you got to break it up, which is tricky. It is 9. And then, Chris, what's the height? Don't forget, these are throwaway numbers. We're not going to need them for area. 10 is correct. Okay, yeah, let's use a little trick. Which number is divisible by 2? Well, 10. So split 10 in half and get, what's 9 times 5, everybody? 45, in this case, square centimeters. Okay, I'm going to circle that, but that is not our final answer. Because don't forget, we got to add it to the areas of triangle 2. Now, what's great about this, when you split it up into 2 separate triangles, they share the same height. Does everybody see that they share the same height of 10? Yeah. The bases are different. The height's not. What's the base now? Because it's different. Kyan. Right, it's 12. And the height is the same, which is 10. Now, if we use the little trick, remember, you can only split either the 12 or the 10, but not both. So it doesn't matter which one you split, whatever works best for you. What do you split in your head, Lucas? Okay, so half of 12 is, 6 times 10 is, you got it. Which I kind of like that because remember 10 is your friend, 10 is your friend. You want to keep 10s as much as you can because it's just a matter of adding a 0. But I'm sure a lot of you can do 12 times 5 in your head also. Sometimes you want to keep the 10s to 10s. So area of this particular half of the triangle is 60 centimeters squared. Now, what do you have to do to get the total? You have to add them together. So what do you get when you add 60 and 45? Amanda? Agreed? Okay. Raise your hand if you think, now having done your first experience with an acute triangle, raise your hand if you think this is easy. Ready? We're going to make it even easier for you. Because what's cool about triangles, and don't ask me who figured this out many thousands of years ago, is that you don't need to break up acute triangles into two right triangles. And you're going to find out that base times height divided by 2 works for all triangles. Watch how I'm going to do it. Oh, by the way, this, I don't know if you already wrote it, but this technically goes here. And what Aiden said, the idea of adding goes there. Watch what we're going to do using one formula, one base, and one height. I hate scrolling up and down, but you know, let's see if I go full screen. That might not be too bad. That works. You can still see everything, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. A equals base times height divided by 2. Now here's where Mrs. Singleton's shading is very important. Because I want you to look at the whole shape. The whole shape. And tell us, raise your hand this time though, what is the base of the entire triangle? See a lot of hands, which is good. Tyler, what do you say? How are you getting 21? Does everybody see that in order to find the whole base of that triangle, I need the side, 9, and 12, and I've got to add it to get that whole entire base of 21. Raise your hand if you see that and understand that. Okay, so I'm going to substitute that in for the base. That's the hardest part, is figuring out what the total base is, because the height hasn't changed. The height's still what? 10. Divided by 2. Now, if you choose to split one, you can only split the 10, but 10's kind of our friend, isn't it? So what do you want to do? Do you want to do 21 times 10?
Yeah.
That makes 210.
Well,
And then you got to take 210 and divide by 2.
I already. 105.
It doesn't matter how you slice it and dice it. What do you wind up getting as the answer?
105.
105, which is the same thing as this. So the point is that as easy as you may have found the breaking it up into two right triangles, you can make it even easier for yourself as long as you know the entire base of that triangle and its height. And guess what? It works for obtuse triangles also. So you can use A equals base times height divided by 2 for every triangle. That's the easy part. The harder part is, as you'll see, is figuring out what the base is. And that's why when Mrs. Singleton says shade the shape, it does help. Because if you can see the shape and know the shape, you'll know the base. So let's practice. All right, let me get out of this mode and go back into split screen. I'll go back into regular screen. All right, example 2 now is the obtuse triangle. I'm going to shade it again because it's really, the shape is the inside, the bold-faced lines. How did she make the crayon? Yup. Oh, it's already thinking we're already good. Well, give me a good color.
Blue.
We already have blue here. Give me something interesting. Purple. I like purple. That one, right? Okay, purple. Now, can I ask you a question? This 10, are we going to need it?
No. No, because it's a slant.
It's slanted. It's a throwaway number, so I'm just going to color over because we're not going to need it. Shade it on yours as well, guys. And what's good about this is when you shade everything, it doesn't block anything, so we're still good. But we don't. It winds up being a trash number. Sometimes you got to be careful what you shade because you might need it. But that one, all right, that looks good. Are you shading? It does help. Okay, the formula part is easy. Base times height divided by 2. But we've got to determine, again, trash versus treasures, what's base, what's height. Formula is still A equals base height divided by 2. Okay, here comes the important questions. What's the base? And actually, this one's not too bad. You'll see, though, in subsequent examples, it's a little tricky. Ryan. Look at the shaded shape, bud. 24. We don't care about this 6, okay? In this case, it's going to wind up being a trash number. 24. And for now, it's inches, but don't even worry about the units yet. Let's worry about numbers. Gianna, what's the height? Everybody agree it's 8? I agree too. Distractors means what are the trash numbers? Well, one we already took care of because we shaded it over, and that was, what was it, 10? 10. What else?
42.
What else?
6.
Okay, we're not going to need that. We have everything we need. We've got our base, we've got our height. If you guys do it, apply the formula, get the answer. Call somebody up when you're ready. Okay, guys, Paul's going to come up and do it. Try to write as neat as you can, buddy. If you need to skip lines, go for it. Skip lines so you have room. All right, go ahead. Eight. How many of you got 24 times 8 at the top? Okay. Divide by 2. Okay. Okay, good. Any final answer? All right, how many got 96 square inches? All right, how many of you did it Paul's way, the long way around, where you actually computed 192 and then did 192 divided by 2? And how many of you took the shortcut and split one number in half? How many of you split the 24 to 12? 12 times 8? How many of you split the 8 to 4 and did it 24 times 4? Either way is good. Even Paul's way is good. All right, so that's good. 96 inches squared, circle it, nail it down, it is good. All right, don't go anywhere. I want you to shade. Everybody, shade where it's supposed to shade because it is important with this. Because you are going to see, you're going to have to do some thinking. All right, so again, make sure you don't shade over that 7 because as you'll see, we will need it. Formula never changes. A equals what?
Base times height divided by 2.
Thank you, Will. All right, I think the height's easy because it's right there up and down, but here's where you have to be careful. What is the base? The entire base. Michael, how many think it's 15 feet? How'd you know it was 15 feet? Why not 12? Why not 3? Right, so even though we're not breaking, see, this is assuming if you did break it up into 2 right triangles, which we don't have to do, this little side would be 3, and this side would be 12. But if we want the entire base, we have to do what to those 2 numbers, Michael? 12 and 3. You have to add them. So that's going to make 15 times our height of 10.
Second.
Oh, yep, you're right. 7, sorry. 10 is our friend because I didn't want to say goodbye to 10 because he's just such a close friend. But I had to say goodbye to 7 or to 10. Now, unfortunately, they're both odd numbers, right? So you can't really do the little splitty trick. So you'll have to do your 15 times 7, and then you got to divide it by 2. Which makes sense, because if you have two odd numbers, an odd number, in this case, makes an odd number, and if you divide by 2, you're going to wind up with a decimal. So be it. What do you get? What did you get, Will? Did you get 52.5? 105 divided by 2 is definitely 52.5 feet squared. Okay? One more before lunch. Do not let orientation fool you. I had my cut out. I hope I didn't throw it out. Maybe I did. Well, you want to just try it?
Yeah, come on.
Okay. It's up to you if you want to shade or not. We'll work backwards. How's this? You get the answer. Let's do a walk around. We'll do a walk around. If everybody gets it right, we're good until after lunch. All right? Pause it. The most important question to figure this out is, what is the measurement of the base? Because then everything else will fall into place after you identify the base. Giuseppe. Guys, please, don't leave yet. What is the measurement of the base? It's 41. 41 is my base.
That's right.
Okay? Because this particular acute triangle right now is upside down. This is my base. Then this becomes my height.